What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 representing JVS, and I'm back here again for another TV series review. This is a review on the show called The OA. Man, I don't even know where to start with this. This was directed and written by a person by the name of Batmanglij. Batmanglij, I guess that's how the pronunciation is. This by far is one of the most thought-provoking, masterfully written stories that I've seen in quite some time. I know that everybody I've talked to, like Jarrell, Zaman, different people have said that the OA is this, the OA is that. I'm trying to figure it out. And I was like, how complicated could it be, honestly, you know? And then I finally seen it and I was like, I kid you not, the end of the last episode, episode 8 or 9, I can't remember which one, I literally got to the end of it and I went right back to the first episode because I was like, what is going on? Okay, so first off, the OA is not necessarily the name just of the title. This is for a person by the name of Prairie. Prairie is a person that initially was blind, went missing for 7 years after she was, I forgot how old she was, and then she was found again on a hidden cam through YouTube, and then her parents identified her, but she could see now. She was not blind anymore. How did she get to this point? And that's where it takes us through this whole entire, and yeah, you know, it's kind of the movements or something, but I ain't gonna go there. This whole entire story arc that embarks a connection of different people. Different people such as like these group of young kids and this older lady, and Steve, Jesse, Alfonso, Buck, and then Betty is the older lady. And essentially at a certain point, you know, like she interacts with them in different ways by different means. I think the first person he interacted with was Steve. Steve was the one that kind of had me in my head. I was like, yo, there's something wrong with Steve. But Steve is very different. He might have some other gifting thing. I think it was when he was sitting there doing parkour on a roof, and then he decided to put his hand through a wall and didn't flinch. And then he had these emotional outbursts. But Betty was his teacher. And then at the same time, they all, you know, are very different. You know, like Buck is, you know, the musician. She's also a girl, but she identifies as a guy. Alfonso, he's more the, you know, the preppy kid, you know, that everybody loves. But then he's got this secret back arc. Jesse, he was the kid who's kind of like considered the stoner kid, but he's a really lovable and good person. And then Betty was just this unconventional teacher. You know, there's just, you don't find out how weird Betty is until later on, you know? And I think that, man, Stranger Things platformed YouTube to be a conduit of these amazing, amazing original stories that have great characters. And I think it's only the tipping of the iceberg, because where Stranger Things, it talked and embarked on a lot of different things as far as like culture and 80s and love and camaraderie, whereas this goes on science fiction theories and manipulation of human potential. Because there were a lot of the things that I was sitting there, like when they had, you know, everybody grouped together in the house, they were talking through Prairie story or the OA story, I was just like, it was never a point in my head that I didn't believe her. You know how like you watch a story and you're like, you know what, this is probably made up. There were just too many specific facts that were shown through cinematography that were masterful, that identified to me that there is something wrong. There is something that does not add up. One, of course, of her being blind and then now she's being able to see, it made me curious. The first interaction she had with Steve was just, you know, willing and dealing with Buck and somebody else with some drugs, and they were all basically, you know, trying to get drugs. And she came up to the house in the location, came up to Steve, and Steve sucked his dog on her. All of a sudden, right, OA goes and lets the dog bite her and does not flinch, does not move, doesn't do anything. And then on top of that, she calms the dog down after she's got all these marks, and just like, who is this chick? There was another moment that Steve just stabs her and she doesn't flinch or move, and she's with a specific purpose. And that's how I knew that, like, okay, you know, there's people that deal with traumatic stuff, you know, have gone through stuff and just emotionally disconnected, but there's something off of this. And then when you start to understand the unraveling arc of, you know, how the OA in and of herself was created by this doctor just played by Jason Isaacs and Dr. Hunter Happ. You understand, like, dude, there's something off about this cat too. Like, his understanding of human consciousness and connection with the science fiction spectrum of life and death. Woo! What the heck was all? I know this is me going off on all these different kind of tangents, but I tell you what, you won't understand how crazy this show really is until the 8th or last episode. You're gonna be at the very end. You're gonna be like, what? I'm so glad this got renewed for a second season because I couldn't even try to explain some of the things and mysteries behind this. Like, it would literally take me taking different people like Iman, you know, Jarrell, and other people, and like we just taking pieces apart. There was a moment where, you know what I'm saying, there's a person in Homer that, you know, Prairie is really connected to. I swear, matter of fact, I'm going to have to go back to the first episode, that you see Homer back, and you're like, how did he get there? But he has no recollection of what happened. And she's just continuously trying to pursue him, right? But one of the things about Homer is that she inside the cell that she was in, that was the first person she connected with. One of the things that happened with Homer, he got this scar right here, right? There is a moment in, I think, the 6th episode where the doctor, Hap, gets a scar the same exact way. There's a moment where Francisco gets a scar the same exact way. And then there's a moment towards the 8th episode, you're like, man, this is all coincidental. This is, you know, kind of maybe made up. But then, like, there's other things that kind of come up, and you're just like, this is something more. You know what I'm saying? And I can't really truly understand it, but I can definitely say that this is a show that has a lot of rewatchability because there are things in the script and the cinematography that are so smart that you have to go back again to watch to really get the depths of what's going on. Like, there's this underlying meaning going on, and then there's this afterlife experience kind of thing that they're trying to, you know, go into, that there's no way you can watch this the first time and just get it all like that. There's no way. I don't care. You can theorize, but there are things that I'm sitting there thinking about, like, oh, whoa. Just like, okay, for instance, I know I'm ranting. I apologize. This is Phobia Condensed Review. I will give you my review. I'll probably give you a number very soon. Promise. There's a moment where, you know, Prairie tells all of them, keep your doors open, right? There's this one moment randomly that Buck's dad, you know, closes her door. And I'm sitting there thinking, what is the ramification of closing the door? And I still don't really understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's endearing, it's intriguing, that's thought-provoking. That is what science fiction and mystery and thriller is supposed to bring out, resonation in your head for you to process what you see and translate it to comprehension and understanding. And I have none yet. I mean, I have some, you know, smart enough just to have some, but just in the thought that I have to process all these things, right? This movie deserves, I mean, this movie, I keep saying the movie, this show deserves a 12 out of 10. And get me right, yes, I said 12 out of 10. This is easily a 10 out of 10. This show was, whew, man, I've been rambling too much. You can see it jack me up. I highly recommend you go check out the OA. In the first maybe 2 episodes, there's a little bit of like too much sex going on, like nakedness, and just like, what the heck. But if you can get past that and get through this, oh my gosh, bro. Woo! Alright, man, this show messed me all up. I gotta go. I did react to the very last episode, so hopefully y'all enjoyed that reaction. Keep it locked. JVS ain't gonna stop. Oh man, the OA was dope. I gotta check out a reaction. I'm gonna do a reaction to the second season trailer. Alright, peace.